Okay, so I want you to meet two people. Sarah taps every tip screen that swivels her way. Every coffee, every muffin, every pickup order. If the tablet asks, she taps 20% and keeps walking. Tom tips too. He tips his server, his delivery driver, his barber, every single time without fail. But when he orders at a counter, pours his own drink, busses his own table, and the screen still asks him for 20%. He taps no tip, and he does not lose sleep over it. Same job, same income, same city, same coffee order. Honestly, the only thing that separates these two people is a 2-second decision at a little glass screen. And over 20 years, that tiny decision splits into a number that genuinely surprised me when I ran it. So let me draw it out for you. Here's what I want to do today. I'm not going to tell you to stop tipping. I tip. You should tip the people who actually serve you. Full stop. What I want to do is separate two things that got quietly glued together. There's tipping, the real kind, where a person did something for you. And then there's the screen, the little tablet that asks everyone for the same 20%, whether they carried your plates or just handed you a paper bag. I want to draw the gap between those two things out slowly, across years, so you can finally see the part the screen is counting on you never seeing. Not to scare you, just so the next time that tablet spins around to face you, you actually know what you're deciding. Let's keep this fair. Sarah and Tom make the same money. They live 4 blocks apart. They both grab coffee on the way to work. They both order pickup a couple nights a week. They both stop for the occasional smoothie or bakery thing on a Saturday. Neither of them is rich. Neither of them is cheap. They are, for the whole of this video, the same person, with exactly one difference. When a counter screen asks for a tip, Sarah says yes, and Tom asks himself a question first. Did a person actually serve me here? That's it. That's the entire experiment. And look, the reason this even comes up is that the screen is everywhere now. According to Pew Research, in a survey of almost 12,000 US adults back in 2023, 72% of Americans said they're being asked to tip in more places than they were just 5 years ago. That's not a vibe. That's a measured, national 72%. That same 2023 research found nearly a third of people now see tipping as an obligation rather than a choice. And here's a number that surprised me. In separate research from 2024 by Talker Research, about 23% of people said they'd probably tip even for something with no human involved at all. A vending machine, a self-checkout kiosk. Basically, a screen tipping a screen. Here's the way I think about it. Every one of those counter screens is a little toll booth. You roll up, you pay the toll, you drive on. And most of the time, that's fine, because a toll pays for a road. But some of these booths got built on roads that don't actually go anywhere. You order at the register, you pour your own coffee, you grab your own lid, and there's still a toll booth waiting for you on the way out. Sarah pays every toll. Tom only pays the ones with a road behind them. Hold on to that picture, because it's the whole video. On day 1, Sarah feels great, and I mean that sincerely. She feels generous. She feels like the kind of person who takes care of workers. And honestly, that instinct is a genuinely good one. Tom, meanwhile, feels a tiny bit like a villain. Tapping no tip while a human being stands 18 inches away watching you do it is deeply uncomfortable. There's a name for that discomfort. Behavioral folks call it the anchoring effect. And these screens are built around it like a fortress. Here's how good the screens are at this. In one coffee shop study written up in 2025 by Axis Intelligence, when the tablet showed options of 15, 18, and 20%. The average tip landed around 16.2%. Then they swapped the buttons to 20, 25, and 30%. Same shop, same coffee. The average tip jumped to 21.7%. And here's the wild part. Most people still tapped the lowest button on the screen both times. They didn't feel more generous. They just got shown bigger numbers, and their whole sense of normal quietly slid up to meet them. Businesses that switched to these digital screens saw tip volume climb about 26%. According to a Square study, that is not a happy accident. That is the design working exactly as intended. And honestly, I don't think Sarah is being foolish here. She's being kind. And the machine is taking her kindness and turning it into a monthly subscription she never actually signed up for. That's the part that gets me. The trick was never that Sarah is dumb. The trick is that she's nice. So let's actually itemize it. Let me draw out one normal week for Sarah. 3 coffees, around $5.50 each, 20% on the screen, a little over $1 a pop. Call it $3.30 for the week. 2 pickup orders, around $14 each, and the screen defaults to 18 or 20%, even though she drove there and carried the bag home herself. That's roughly $5. A smoothie and a bakery stop on the weekend. Another $4 or so in taps. Add it up, and Sarah is handing about $12 a week to counter screens. Not to servers, to screens, at places where she mostly served herself. And this is the part the screen is really counting on. Each tap is genuinely nothing. $1, $2, sometimes 50 cents. Nothing you'd ever notice leaving your account. Nothing that ever shows up as a line you'd stop and question. It doesn't feel like a decision. It feels like politeness. It slips right past you. The exact same way $12 slips past you when it's split into 8 little taps across a week, until you line them all up in one place. Then it stops looking like politeness and starts looking like a bill. $12 a week. That works out to about $600 a year. And before anyone says that number sounds high, here's the thing. It lines up almost perfectly with real research. That same 2024 Talker Research Survey found the average person handed over about $453 a year in tips they felt pressured into and didn't really want to leave. Pressure tips, guilt tips. And by 2025, as people started pushing back on the screens, that number actually dropped to about $283. So $600 a year in total screen taps, with a healthy chunk of it being the guilt kind, is not a crazy number at all. It's a Tuesday. Okay, watch this. Here's where Tom's little question starts to actually matter. Tom skips those same screen taps because no person served him, and he does the boring thing instead. He drops that $600 a year into a plain index fund and forgets it exists. Now, I have to say this part clearly, because it matters. This is an illustration, not a promise, and it is definitely not financial advice. I'm assuming an 8% average annual return, which is a common long-run stock market assumption, and real life is a lot bumpier than a clean 8%. Markets go down. Some years genuinely hurt, but across long stretches, that's a reasonable number to draw with. So let's draw. Let me check the scoreboard at year 3. Sarah has handed screens about $1,800 by now. Tom's invested version is sitting around $2,030. So the gap is real, but it's small, about $200. If you stopped the video right here, you'd shrug. $200 over 3 whole years. Who cares? And that, right there, is exactly why nobody ever runs this. The gap is boring right up until the moment it isn't. Now, let me run it out to year 10. Sarah has handed over $6,000 in screen taps. $6,000. Gone. In tips at places she mostly served herself. Tom's pile is now sitting around $9,100. And here's the moment I actually care about. Somewhere in there, quietly, the thing flips. Tom's invested money starts growing faster every year than Sarah can even tap. The pile is now doing the work. She's still tapping $1 here, $5 there, and it still feels like nothing, because each single tap really is nothing. But his side crossed over into real money while neither of them was looking. That's the flip. It didn't announce itself. It just happened. Let me take it all the way out to year 20, because this is the part that got me. Sarah has now handed counter screens about $12,000. 12,000 actual dollars. In tips. At registers where she poured her own coffee. She has, in exchange, a coffee app, a smoothie punch card, and a folder of receipts she is never once going to look at again. Tom did the identical job, ate the identical food, tipped every real server and driver and barber exactly the same as she did. And his skip-the-screen money grew to about $29,000. He earns what she earns. He drinks the same coffee she drinks. One of them tapped. One of them asked a question. And the gap between them is now a used car. And if you let it ride all the way to year 30, the way a lot of people's working lives actually run, Tom's side lands around $74,000. $74,000 from skipping the tablet at places that never served him. Hiding inside a 2-second decision he made without thinking, over and over, for decades. And look, this isn't only a Sarah and Tom thing. Zoom all the way out. According to a LendingTree analysis of government data, Americans spent an estimated $77.6 billion on tips for food alone in 2023. Billion with a B. Now, a huge share of that is real tipping for real service, and it absolutely should be. But a slice of that river is screen creep, the toll booths sitting on roads that don't go anywhere. And that slice keeps growing, because the screens keep spreading and the default buttons keep drifting up. Here's a detail that stuck with me. Tipping norms didn't always sit at 20%. According to work from the New Jersey State Policy Lab, the standard at nice restaurants moved from 10 to 15% back in the early 1970s. It drifted toward 20% by the late 1990s. And now, with everything on screens, those tablets routinely suggest all the way up to 35%. The number keeps climbing. And it climbs on top of menu prices that already went up on their own. So 20% today is quietly a whole lot more dollars than 20% was even 5 years ago. Same percentage, bigger base. You're tipping a bigger number for the exact same sandwich. For what it's worth? At real sit-down restaurants, the average card tip was about 19.4% in the first quarter of 2025, according to Toast. So the 20% standard is holding strong at the places with actual table service. That's the toll with a real road behind it. That's the one I pay every single time. And it's the one Tom pays every single time too. Now, if I only showed you the scoreboard and stopped there, I'd be doing you dirty. So let me be really clear about where Sarah is completely right, and Tom is not some secret genius. Tom tips his sit-down server 20% every time. No screen required. He tips his delivery driver because that person drove to his house in the rain. He tips his barber, his bartender, the person who actually carries and pours and serves him. So does Sarah, every time. That part was never the difference. And here's the other side of it. because it's real. Sometimes the person behind that counter is doing genuine work. A barista slammed with a line out the door, building a complicated drink, remembering your name from last Tuesday. Tipping there is a genuinely kind choice. And if you want to make it, you make it. This was never a rule. It's a question. Did a person actually serve me here? Sometimes the honest answer at a counter is yes. And then, sure. Tap the thing and feel good about it. The point was never to become the person who never tips anybody. The point is to stop letting a screen answer that question on your behalf. Personally, I still overtip my barber like it's a sacred obligation, because a bad haircut follows you around for a solid month, and I am simply not brave enough to risk it. And if it were me at a self-checkout, scanning my own groceries, bagging my own groceries, and a screen asked me to tip the machine for the privilege of doing its actual job, I'm skipping that one every single time. I'm not being cheap when I skip it. I just don't think a machine needs a gratuity for doing the one thing it was built to do. So here's where I land. The real trap was never the 20%. The real trap is letting a screen quietly decide what counts as service, and then paying a toll on roads that go nowhere, $12 at a time, for 20 years, without ever once drawing the number out and looking at it. So here's the one small thing I want you to do. Next time that tablet swivels around and those buttons light up all bright and hopeful, before your thumb goes anywhere, ask yourself one question. Did a person actually serve me here? If yes, tip them, and tip them well, because they earned it. If no, hit the custom button, or hit no tip, and walk out without a shred of guilt, because you didn't do a single thing wrong. And if you're really feeling it, take whatever your own version of Sarah's $12 a week looks like, and picture it drawn across 10 years instead of dropped into a tablet. Because $600 a year feels like absolutely nothing. $29,000 does not feel like nothing. That's the only number that matters. If this made you look at that little screen a bit differently, stick around, because I take a different everyday money thing and draw it out like this every week, and I'll see you at the next one.